Hello everyone and welcome. This is Dawn. I'm so glad you could join me. I'm back with another cute Halloween card. Today I'm sharing how I used small stamps to make a quick background for my card. I'm using the Whimsy Stamps Trick or Treat Kids stamp set. This stamp set is absolutely adorable. It has 7 images and 3 sentiments, and I thought these images would be great to make a background with. I'm going to pair it up with the Boho circles. This is an 8-piece die set, and I just love how they're all different and not perfect circles. I thought they would pair up nicely with this Halloween card. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is stamp my images onto a piece of white cardstock that I cut to 5.5 by 4 1/4. I'm going to use my Misty stamping tool so I could stamp multiple images at one time. For me, this is better because I usually like to stamp my images a couple of times to get a really good impression. However, if you're a good stamper and get clear images on the first try, then it might be easier for you to use an acrylic block. Then you can just stamp the random images on the paper without cleaning the stamp after each use. I'm basically just putting the images wherever I want, no particular spot. And I am using a Copic friendly ink since I will be using my Copic markers to color in all of the images. Also, I don't show it, but I did end up using the Happy Halloween sentiment from the Halloween Magic stamp set. I thought it would look nice to have Happy Halloween stamped on the card along with the images. Now I'm basically just going around the edges and filling in any blank white spots with the images. I don't bother to stamp anything in the middle of the paper since I will be cutting it out anyways with the circle. Next, I'm going to take one of the Boho circles. I'm using the 4th one from the smallest circle, and I'm going to die cut it in the middle of the paper. I tape it in place, and then I'm going to run it through my die cut machine. Once I die cut the circle, I'm going to trim the paper down to 4 by 5 1/4 inches, making sure to trim off equal amounts from all sides so that the circle stays centered in the middle of the paper. Next, I'm going to stamp the little candy corn kid onto a piece of white cardstock, again using some Copic friendly ink. It doesn't need to be on a big piece of paper since I will be fitting it behind the circle. Now I'm going to do some quick Copic coloring. I'm not doing any shading today, just some very basic coloring. In fact, I'm not even going to show all the coloring since it is that basic. I will go through and color one image just to tell you the color that I used, and I'll also have the colors listed in the description below. I'm using E37 for his face and the little feet and hands, and then I bring in some E33 just to get it a little bit lighter. I use Y21 for the top layer of the candy corn, and then I use YR07 for the second layer of the candy corn. I use Y17 for the last layer of the candy corn, and then I use YR07 for the little pumpkin he's carrying. For the circle candy, I'm basically just putting some lines using YR07 and leaving it mostly white. For the rectangle candy, I'm using YR14 and then using some V04. For the pumpkin heads, on the stick, I'm using YR09, and I also used G24 to color the leaves on the pumpkin. I don't show it here because I forgot to color them until later. So you'll see them already colored later in the video. And then that's basically it. That's all the coloring that I did, and I used V04 just for the little candy sticking out on the edges. I put foam tape on the back of the card front because I want it to be raised up to give dimensions so you can see the candy corn kid better, and I just think it looks nicer that way too. I'm going to put some glue on the back of the foam tape so I can move the paper around if I have to, and I hold the card front over the candy corn image, and I just make sure that it's centered in the middle of the circle before I adhere it down. I cut a piece of black cardstock to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm going to adhere it to the back of the card front. I cut a piece of white cardstock to 4 1/4 by 11, and then I scored it at 5 1/2 to make a top folding card, and then I adhere my card front to my card base. And to finish off the card, I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment, so I rub my embossing powder bag onto a piece of black cardstock. I stamp it with some Versamark ink, and then I pour gold embossing powder on it. And when my heat tool is good and hot, I heat emboss the sentiment. I cut the sentiment down to size, and then I put foam tape on the back of it and adhere it to the front of the card. So that's going to complete my card for today. I hope you enjoyed this card. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the card. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos and new product releases. As always, thanks for stopping by and have yourself a wonderful day.